The stars were on fire. Across the galaxy, planets were burning. Cities turned to ash. Space stations vanished without warning. The swarm had come, and nothing could stop it. The swarm was not just an army. It was a storm of living nightmares. They moved like a wave, endless and hungry. Ships, creatures, weapons, all mixed into one thing: pure destruction. At first, the Galactic Council laughed. They had fought many enemies before: pirates, rebels, even small wars between star nations. They thought the swarm was just another problem. They were wrong. Within weeks, 10 planets fell. Whole systems went dark. The Council sent fleets, hundreds of warships from many species. But the fleets were crushed. No survivors. Only one message came back. They are not alive. They are not machines. They are something else. Panic spread. Fear followed. The Council turned to the Deathworlders. Deathworlders were the strongest species in the galaxy. They came from planets full of poison, storms, and monsters. Only the toughest life survived there. Deathworlders were born fighters. The galaxy feared them, but now they begged them for help. The Deathworlders answered. The Varkeen, 10-foot beasts covered in spikes. The Zokari, cold-blooded warriors with armor for skin. The Threx, fast, smart killers from a world of ice and lava. They joined the war. They fought hard. They used heavy weapons, strange powers, and battle skills learned over thousands of years. But it didn't matter. The swarm kept coming. The more the Deathworlders killed, the more the swarm changed. It adapted. It learned. Guns stopped working. Shields failed. The swarm turned smarter, faster, deadlier. One Deathworlder commander shouted during battle, "They grow from our dead! Every time we kill them, they get stronger." The war turned into a nightmare. One planet fell every day. Soon there were no safe places left. Refugees screamed for help, but there were no ships to save them. Council leaders stopped sleeping. The stars grew darker. And then, something strange happened. A planet called Krathus 7 sent a final message before it was destroyed. It was not a cry for help, it was a warning. They're heading toward the outer edge, toward something hidden. The outer edge was far from the core planets, a cold, forgotten place. Most believed it held nothing, just old stars and dust. But a few remembered stories, old ones, whispers, about a planet that once burned, a planet full of war and chaos, a planet so dangerous it was left to die. The name of that planet? Earth. But Earth was just a myth now, a dead world. Lost long ago, wasn't it? A young alien officer named Tarek sat alone in the dark, watching the map of the galaxy. Red dots showed swarm movement. He traced the pattern with shaking fingers. They weren't spreading in every direction. They were moving towards something. A target. He opened a secret file. One his people said not to look at. Earth, Class Red Death World. Status, unknown. Last contact, 600 years ago. Tarek's eyes widened. "No," he whispered. "It can't be." He sent a message to the Council. No one believed him. But hours later, every screen in the galaxy flashed. A signal had been picked up from the outer edge. It was short, broken, full of static. But the message was clear. "We see the fire. We are coming. Hold the line." The voice was deep, human. The Council sat in silence. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, someone finally asked, "Is it real?" No answer. Only a question remained in the minds of every species. If humanity is alive, what have they become? The message shook the galaxy. "We see the fire. We are coming. Hold the line." No one had heard a human voice in over 600 years. Earth was believed to be gone, lost in fire and silence. But now, a signal had come from the outer edge. It came from an old relay station near a dead zone. The station hadn't sent or received anything in centuries, but now something had turned it on again, and the message played on every screen. Every channel, across every planet. Some called it fake, others said it was an echo from the past. But one thing was clear, the voice was human. The Galactic Council gathered in panic. "There are no humans left," said one elder. "They were wiped out in the Silence War," another added. "No," said a soft voice. It was Tarek, the young officer who found the old Earth file. "They are alive, and they're coming." Everyone turned to him. He stood slowly and opened the file again. Earth went dark 600 years ago, but not because it was destroyed. They wanted to disappear. The council shouted in anger and confusion. Why would they vanish? What are they hiding from? Why now? Why return? Tarek answered with just one word. The swarm. Silence filled the great hall. He continued. What if Earth saw this coming long ago? What if they prepared in secret? A cold chill ran through the room. The swarm kept advancing. Whole sectors were falling in hours. The Deathworlders were losing more ground every day. Even the mighty Varkeen had begun to retreat. A second signal came. This time, it wasn't just a voice. It was a map. The swarm's next target was marked with a red circle. A small, cold planet, codenamed X-77. No one knew the planet's real name, but Tarek recognized the shape of the continents. Earth. The swarm was heading straight for it. Suddenly, the council screens flashed again. A new message. Short, clear. Do not follow. Do not interfere. We will handle it. It was signed with one symbol, a burning Earth surrounded by stars. It was a human military seal, one no alien had ever seen. The council debated again. Some said to ignore the warning. We must help. If the swarm reaches Earth, we all lose. Others said, no. If humans really are alive, they may have a plan. Tarek spoke again. We already failed. The Deathworlders failed. Let them try. And so, the galaxy waited. They watched as the swarm turned, heading toward the outer edge, toward the dead planet, toward the forgotten home of humanity. But something strange happened. The swarm fleet slowed down, then stopped. A full attack force of over 12,000 ships suddenly vanished from scanners. Gone. No battle, no signal, no explosion, just silence. Then something new appeared. A ship. One ship. It came from Earth. It moved faster than anything ever seen. Its shape was sharp, strange, almost alive. Its engines burned blue and white. It didn't send a signal. It didn't ask for help. It just passed through the galactic sensors and vanished again. Tarek stared at the screen. What was that? The answer came from an old Deathworlder general. He leaned forward, his voice low and rough. That, he said, was a warning. The galaxy held its breath. After the mysterious Earth ship appeared and vanished, fear spread even faster than the swarm. No one knew what the humans were doing. No one had answers. All anyone knew was this. Something had changed. The swarm had stopped moving. Entire systems watched the stars in silence. Then came a strange reading from a forgotten place. It was a planet on no trade route, a world long believed to be dead, covered in black mountains, red storms, and oceans of acid. It had only one name in old files, D13, but the ancient warriors called it something else. The Last Death World. Long ago, it was a testing ground for elite soldiers, the most dangerous training place ever created. The environment itself was a weapon. Only 2 species ever survived there, and one of them was human. Now, scanners showed movement again on D13, life signs, machines, heat. The council sent a stealth drone. It flew low through dark clouds and past giant bones half buried in dust. The buildings were broken, the skies cracked with thunder, but deep underground, there was light. The drone entered a cave, then stopped. Across the walls were messages, burned in with fire. Simple words. This is not the end. The swarm will fall. We never stopped preparing. The drone moved deeper and saw something else. A human helmet. New. Untouched by time. Before the drone could scan it, an energy wave hit it, cutting the signal. Back at the council, panic. Spread again. What is happening there? Are humans building something? Is this their base? Tarek stepped forward once more. It's a forward post, he said. They built it long ago, probably as a test ground. Now they're waking it up. Just then, a battle alert came in. A Death Worlder unit was being overrun on the planet Tarvos 4. The swarm was attacking again. The council begged the Varkeen to hold the line, but they were too weak. They had lost too many soldiers. Their defenses were broken. Suddenly, something new appeared on the battlefield. Not ships. Shadows. They moved fast, silent, not alien, not machine. Something between. The Death Worlders stared in shock as the new soldiers tore through the swarm like paper. Their weapons were quiet but deadly. Their armor shimmered with strange energy. Their faces were hidden behind dark glass. They didn't speak. They didn't pause. They just killed. One Varkeen officer tried to approach them. "Who are you?" he shouted. The closest figure turned its head. No answer came. Then, through a speaker, only 2 words. Mission active. The swarm fled. It was the first time in history anyone had seen the swarm retreat. When the battle ended, the new soldiers disappeared into the trees, leaving behind only one thing. A flag. It showed the earth. Behind it, a blade crossed with fire. It was a symbol the galaxy had never seen, but Tarek knew what it meant. Special Forces, he said quietly. Human Black Ops. The room fell silent. If those soldiers were just the beginning, what else had humanity prepared? The ground was shaking. Tarvos 4 was still burning from the last battle. Death Worlder troops stood in silence, staring at the scorched battlefield. The swarm had attacked with full force. No one expected to survive. But something happened. No one understood. The swarm ran away. No warning. No clear reason. And in their place came shadows. The Death Worlders searched the field again. No trace of the attackers. Only black ash and strange footprints that glowed in the dirt. Commander Relkan of the Threx walked carefully among the ruins. He was known for his calm mind, even in chaos. But today, he was afraid. He picked up a broken swarm limb, cut clean, burned at the edge. Their weapons couldn't do that. This is not Council tech, he said quietly. And it's not swarm either. Then he looked up. A ship was falling from the sky. No, not falling. Landing. Silent. Controlled. Its hull shimmered like it was covered in liquid light. No lights, no noise, just a shadow descending through fire. The Death Worlders raised their weapons. The ship opened slowly. Steam poured out. And then they walked out. 5 human figures. Tall. Armored. Movements sharp and smooth. Their suits were like shadows, black with glowing blue lines. Their faces were covered with full helmets. No eyes, no mouths. Only metal and glass. The Death Worlders didn't move. The lead human raised one hand. Not as a greeting, but a command. Area. Secure, a voice said from inside the helmet. It was calm, cold, almost machine-like. Who are you? Relkan shouted. The humans didn't answer. Instead, they spread out, checking the battlefield, scanning dead swarm bodies, planting small devices in the ground. Then one turned back toward Relkan, slowly, almost like it had just noticed him. Do not follow, the voice said. This war is no longer yours. Before Relkan could respond, the humans activated something on their arms and vanished. gone, like ghosts in smoke. Relkin stared at the empty ground where they had stood. This isn't just technology, he whispered. This is something else. The council was in shock when they heard the report. They appeared and disappeared like shadows? They ignored our troops? Do they even serve Earth's government? Tarek watched the footage again. He paused the image on the symbol on the soldier's shoulders, a burning sword over Earth. He searched old human files. Most were corrupted, but deep in the hidden data, he found one matching image. Project Revenant. Classified. All details deleted. Only one line remained. Built for the end. Released only if humanity faces extinction. Tarek leaned back in his seat, his voice shaking. We didn't call them, he said. We didn't ask for help. They came. Because they were always watching. Back on Tarvos 4, hours later, the devices the humans planted activated. Blue energy spread across the ground, burning every piece of swarm flesh into dust. Clean, fast, complete. Then the energy vanished. The world was silent again. But a message was left behind, floating above the field in clear English. This was a warning. For 6 centuries, Earth had been silent. No messages, no trade, no ships. The galaxy believed it was gone, destroyed in the Silence War. Just another dead world in the outer edge. But now, everything had changed. First came the message. Then came the black-armored soldiers. Now, Earth itself was speaking again. A massive transmission lit up the galactic network, encrypted, complex, meant for all. Across council chambers, battlefields, and warships, the same message played. This is Earth. Command, we are awake. The voice was calm, strong, human. It continued. We see the swarm. We see your failure to stop it. Stand down. This war is ours now. The council fell into chaos. Who gave them permission to take over? We are the ruling alliance. They cannot order us around, but deep inside, even the bravest knew. Earth had returned, and it was not the same Earth they once knew. Tarek stared at the hologram. Behind the speaker stood a wall of unknown technology. Strange glowing maps, soldiers moving like machines, planets with no names. This wasn't just a civilization that survived. It was one that had evolved, alone, in silence, in war. The voice spoke again. Do not send fleets. Do not send aid. Protect your own borders. Earth will finish what you could not. Then the transmission ended. Back on Tarvos 4, the ground shook once again. Ships began to arrive, human ships. Dozens at first, then hundreds. But they weren't like the old human ships in history books. These were darker, sleeker, deadly. No open windows, no flags, no signals. They moved in silence and formed a giant wall in orbit. And then, they began building. Giant machines unfolded in space, weapons, shield stations, black towers that stretched miles high. All done within hours. The Deathworlders watching from the surface could only whisper. They've been waiting for this. Preparing. One Varkeen warrior said, "We thought we were the strongest, but this is different." On the 3rd day, Earth sent another signal. Not words, a video. It showed something terrifying. The swarm's central hive. Captured, surrounded, burning. The humans had found it. The core of the swarm fleet. Hidden in the darkest part of space, and they had destroyed it in silence. The galaxy had sent millions of troops over the years. None ever got close. Earth found it in a week and made it vanish in a night. One council leader stood shaking. This is not a rescue. This is a warning. Tarek nodded. He understood now. Humanity didn't come back to ask for help. They came to take control. And now, the real war was beginning. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. The swarm was running. hiding in the dark corners of space. Planets once ruled by fear now stood silent. The monsters were retreating, but no one was celebrating, because now they feared something else: humanity. After Earth broke its silence, they didn't stop. Each day more ships arrived. Strange, quiet ships, made of black metal, shaped like wings, glowing with deep blue light. The council tried to count them. They lost count at 10,000. Tarek stared at the numbers. "Where did these come from?" he whispered. "Earth can't build this fast." Then he got his answer. A hidden signal, deep space, far beyond Earth, far beyond the swarm, an old solar system, long thought empty, but it wasn't empty. The humans had built something there, a shipyard the size of a moon, covered in ice, hidden in shadows. It had only one name: the Forge. Tarek accessed a stolen human file, half corrupted, but one sentence stood out. "The Forge never sleeps. If Earth falls, the stars will burn." He sat back in silence. For 600 years, humanity had been preparing, building in places no one dared go, training soldiers no one could track, creating weapons the galaxy had never seen. It wasn't defense. It was a plan, a cold, patient plan, and now the plan had begun. On the front lines, Deathworlder scouts spotted something terrifying: swarm hives exploding from within, without any warning. No battle, no noise, just instant destruction, and floating near the wreckage were human ships, black, sharp, watching. Inside council chambers, panic was rising. Earth is becoming a bigger threat than the swarm. What if they take over everything? Should we stop them? Tarek stood up. "Stop them," he said. "We couldn't even stop the swarm." Everyone fell silent. Then a new image appeared on the council screen. It showed a single human ship approaching the planet Vorn, the swarm's last known stronghold. But this ship was different. It was bigger than anything ever seen before. A city. A fortress. A ghost. It moved through space like a predator. The name on the side read HES Eclipse. Tarek searched the file. Nothing. It didn't exist in any record, but as the ship reached Vorn, it sent one message: "Final phase, begin." Then, the stars around Vorn turned red. Not from fire, from engines. Thousands of hidden human ships uncloaked, surrounding the planet in seconds. The swarm fought back. They had no chance. In 20 minutes, it was over. The last stronghold was gone. Vorn became silent. Tarek stood frozen. Earth didn't just return to the war. They ended it. But the question remained: what would they do now with all that power? The swarm was gone. Dead, destroyed. Vorn, the last hive, was silent. No screams, no ships, only dust. For the first time in over 300 years, the galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. At first, there was celebration. Species danced in the streets. Flags were raised. Songs filled the stars. But behind the joy, there was fear. Not of the swarm. Of Earth. Human ships still patrolled the outer systems. Silent. Watching. Ready. The eclipse floated in orbit like a dark moon, surrounded by black armored soldiers and drones that never slept. The Council called an emergency meeting. "We must speak to Earth. Ask them to step down. We must take back control of our skies." "But who will do it?" someone asked. No one answered. Everyone was afraid. Earth had done the impossible. They didn't just fight the swarm, they erased them, and they did it without help. Tarek sat alone, watching a video loop from the battlefield. Human soldiers moving through smoke, calm, cold, focused. They didn't cheer after winning. They didn't smile. They just kept marching. He opened a final Earth file, newly decoded. It was a message from a human commander, sent only once, long ago. "We were never the monsters. We were the sword no one wanted to hold. Tarek read the final line aloud. We do not want to rule the stars, but we will not let them fall again. Outside, a Deathworlder captain sent a report from the edge of Sector 8. A strange structure was found, huge, dark, hidden behind an asteroid field. Human tech, not a weapon, a vault. Inside were strange containers, each sealed, marked with red warnings. One label read, Project Winter. The rest were worse. Project Ember. Project Black Sun. Project Omega Protocol. No one could open them, not even with Council tech. It was clear now. Earth had not used their strongest weapons in the war. They had only shown what was necessary. The rest remained locked away, waiting. And that scared everyone more than the swarm ever had. Tarek met with a human officer at a silent station near Tarvos 4. She wore no medals. Spoke softly. He asked, Will you leave now that the war is over? She looked at the stars and said only one thing. The war is never over. Not for us. Then she walked away. No promise, no threat, just silence. And across the galaxy, leaders began to whisper. What if peace is more dangerous than war? The stars were calm, planets rebuilt, ships returned home. Children played without fear for the first time in generations. The war was over, but peace felt strange. Everyone looked up, wondering if it would last, and everywhere they looked they saw them. Human ships, still silent, still watching. They didn't leave. They didn't celebrate. They stayed in orbit in the dark like statues. Some species begged Earth to go home. Some demanded it. Earth said nothing. No threats, no promises, just silence. Until one day, without warning, Earth finally answered. A transmission was sent to every system in every language. The screen turned black. A symbol appeared, the Earth. Behind it, a single burning sword, then a voice. This is not occupation. This is protection. You fought. You survived, but we saw what you couldn't. The swarm was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, leaders froze. People stopped breathing. We are not here to rule you. We are here to prepare you. Because there are worse things in the dark. Behind the message, images flashed. Unknown galaxies, ancient monsters, shadows deeper than the swarm. Tarek watched from the council chamber. His heart pounded. This was no longer about Earth. This was about something bigger, older, darker. Earth had seen it. And they had been preparing, in silence, in secret, in pain. Then the message ended with one final line. When the stars scream again, we will be waiting. And just like that, the signal faded. No follow-up, no commands, just that warning. From that day, the galaxy began to change. The Council passed new laws, stronger armies, faster ships, smarter defenses. They started training together, sharing knowledge, building as one. Not because Earth ordered them to, but because Earth showed them what was coming. In the years that followed, human soldiers slowly pulled back. The black ships left orbit one by one, but everyone knew they were still out there, in the deep, in the dark, watching. Not to conquer, not to control, but to guard. They were the shadows that kept the stars safe. And in every school, on every planet, young children were taught one truth. The swarm lost, not because we were strong, but because Earth remembered how to fight like monsters to protect the light.